Hello, hello.
Hello, Abby. Happy Tuesday, first live of the new year, right?
Yes, it is the first live of the new. Wait, no, I went live last week. I went
Oh, okay.
live.
First live for me in the new
Your
year.
first live of the new year. Yes. I am so excited. So today we're going to be talking about the three biggest mistakes that new VAs make. And we've got some really just gold information. And whether you're an established VA or newer in the journey, I think that it's always good to kind of look ahead at what is to come, especially from people who have been there, done that. So not only have Rachel and I both started and scaled our own VA businesses, but we have the experience of over 6,000 people who have done this as well. It looks like we are not streaming on Facebook. It looks like our stream is not working. Boo. So we can make sure that we're directing people to YouTube. So if our team can make sure word gets out, YouTube. So yes, we were talking about the three biggest mistakes, and we have not only built our own successful virtual assistant businesses, but we've trained over 6,000 individuals who have gone through the Savvy system, which is so crazy. Our goal is to have 10,000 people by the year 2030 go through that program, which is so cool because we know that those 10,000 people, it's not just a number. Each one represents a life and a life change. And it's our vision to help you guys make the freedom life possible. And so what's so cool is that we can talk about, mistakes that new VAs make. But the only reason we know that is because we have the awesome opportunity and blessing to be working with you guys and be hand in hand building these businesses with you. And I know that that is such a joy for me, and I know it is for you too, Rachel.
Yeah, 100%. And something that we get to do every week in our team meeting is we take time to stop and pause and reconnect to the fact that those inside of our products aren't just numbers, right? They're actual individuals, and we get to hear their stories and hear from our support team on the interactions that they're having with our students inside of the group. Because just like Abby said, it's absolutely a privilege to be working with individuals and helping them potentially change their lives and maybe even generations. So
Yes, 100%. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump right into the training. Rachel, if you can let our team know in Slack.
yeah, already did.
Thing. Thank you. We want to make sure everybody is going to YouTube since Facebook Boo is not working right now. That happens every once in a while because we love tech. Hey, it is a necessary evil in our line of work. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to share my slides and we're just going to go through these one at a time. But of course, we always like to make this super interactive. So let's go ahead and start with this. Why don't you let me know, for those of you guys who have joined us live, just let me know in the comments who you are, where you're joining us from, and if it is snowing where you live, because it is snowing right outside my window. It is coming down hard. So here we go. First real snow that we've gotten here in Missouri. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Give me just a moment. Alrighty. Oh, also heads up, as I'm talking, I will be sipping lots of tea and water. My throat is like we got the sickness thing. I did an Instagram story asking how many of you guys have been sick versus not, because I feel like everybody's sick. And I think it was like 56 or almost 60% of you like, yep, we got it. So like, I know y'all are hurting just like me. So I will be coughing and hopefully not too much. I'll be drinking my tea as well. Beautiful. So lovely. Sure, you just love that. Okay. Let's go ahead and jump in. We have Ava from Texas joining us. We have Sabrina from Cleveland. So happy to be here. Awesome. And Yvette from Orlando. Hey, Yvette, I am probably going to be doing a meetup in Orlando soon. My family and I will be going to Orlando for spring break. So be on the lookout in our events with the Virtual Savvy on our Facebook page and in our group for an Orlando meetup, because hopefully we're doing that soon. All right, here we go. The top three biggest mistakes that new VAs make. Let's just jump right in. Let's say this first. I'm believing that this is your power year. How many of you guys in the comments are going to claim that this is your year? It's your year to live your freedom life, to build your own virtual assistant business, and to start making real money working from home. If that is you, go ahead and say, "This is my power year" in the comments. And we are so excited to be a part of that journey. And one of the ways that we would love to be a part of that journey is to have you join us in our upcoming challenge. So we have a 3-day challenge coming up starting on January 16th. If you have not already registered, you can go to thevirtualsavvy.com/challenge and register for the challenge. It is happening every single day at noon for 3 days, and you want to be a part of it. This is going to be incredibly interactive. You'll have assignments each day that you'll need to complete. But we're going to be going everything from using our savvy time formula to find the time in your current schedule so you can launch your business with the time you already have, because guess what, you're not getting more of it. So you can launch your business with the time you already have. We're going to be looking at your pricing and the packages and the services, because you can launch your business with the services that you can currently offer, because yes, you already have skills. And then we're going to be talking all about marketing and coming up with a blueprint for the year on how to launch your business on the 3rd day. So you will definitely want to join us for this 3-day challenge. It's completely free, so make sure that you join. All right, mistake number 1 that we see people make. Rachel, what is it?
We see that new VAs think they need to have everything perfect before launching. All the ducks in the row, no mistakes, everything ready, pretty, perfect. Mistake number 1 for sure.
Yeah, and I love saying this one first, and go ahead and just let us know in the comments if this is you. It's okay. I'm going to raise my hand too. Self-proclaimed perfectionist here. But I have seen this time and time again with the people that that we work hand in hand with through our signature program, the Savvy System, is that they'll come in and there's just this oh, I can't tell people about my business yet. I can't. It's not ready yet. It's almost there. It's almost there. It's almost there. And what will happen is we stay almost there for 3 or 4 or 6 months or a year, right? And then we're like, oh, I've been doing this business for a year and I don't have any clients yet. And it's like, because you haven't told anybody yet, right? Because you've been so preoccupied with trying to make it all perfect. And so we are huge, huge fans. It's actually one of our core values here at the Virtual Savvy that we value action over perfection. And sometimes you just have to launch with something that you know is imperfect. Now, I'm not saying throw out junk. We also believe in excellence here at the Virtual Savvy, but sometimes you've got to launch at 80% or 90%, right? You'll never really be able to launch at 100%, because I don't even know if 100% is possible, right? There's always room for improvement. So if you know, okay, launching at 80% or launching at 90% is launching at 100%, then I think that mind shift makes a huge difference.
Yeah. And I also want to, kind of talk about what we mean by launch. I don't want anybody to think or have this misconceived idea that this launch is an event, right? Like something that I'm going to plan and do and put out there. It may look like that, but launching your business may actually just mean that you send a message to somebody that you know that's a small business owner and letting them know, hey, I'm going to be doing that, or I'm going to be doing this, and serving small business owners as a virtual assistant. That alone can be what we consider launch. So I don't want you to think that you have to create this big event or ordeal to put yourself out there. It may literally just mean that you're sending a message to let somebody know that this is what you're doing.
Yeah. I actually had a coffee date the other day with a friend, and who had been just grueling over her website. I mean, just working on it. She spent 2 months building this website and hadn't told a single person about her new business for 2 months, as she was just working. And then, so I met with her the week after she launched, because for her, in her brain, it was like, once I set my website live, that means I have launched and I'm ready and I'm opening the floodgates. So what happened? She launched her website. Her website was live. She posted about it on Facebook. And she had like 4 or 5 people be like, "That's awesome." And that was it. And it like fell flat. And in her, it was this huge like disappointment because she
Mhm.
thought like, oh,
Mhm.
once I launch, then the floodgates open, right? And generally speaking, that's not how it works. And that's okay if you expect it, right? We're talking about the biggest mistakes people make because we've seen what people do time and time again. So this is actually normal for not there not to be this like, I announced my business on Facebook and I got 20 clients, right? Like that's actually not normal. What is normal for a small service based business starting your own VA business is that it's the trickle, right? It's not this like floodgate, it's the trickle of consistency, right? The snow that's forming outside my window, I don't just look outside and there's 3 feet of snow, right? It's going to slowly come down and it's going to be consistent for probably like the next 4 days. Hold on. I have to grieve a second. My kids are supposed to go back to school today and they didn't. And we're supposed to get so much snow. But it's going to trickle and it's going to trickle and it's going to build and it's going to build and it's going to build. And that's what your business is doing, right? And your marketing is that way too. You just keep showing up consistently. You tell people, you go to networking events, you follow a marketing plan, which we're going to talk about in the challenge, right? And you stay consistent with it and then you will see the build. Okay. So I don't want you to think that, like, okay, and that's why you launch before it's perfect. That's why you don't just like, okay, now I'm ready, because you want to start that trickle as soon as possible. So before you even have everything ready, yes, before you have a website, before you've even nailed down all your packages and pricing, you can go ahead and start putting the word in people's ears. Hey, I'm going to be starting this. Hey, I'm starting to offer these services. Like, go ahead and be at least letting friends and family know that this is happening before it's all perfect in your mind.
And I think too, this is one of the best muscles that a perfectionist can flex
Oh, yeah.
is putting yourself out there before it's perfect. Because again, we've seen it time and time again. When we put ourselves out there before everything is perfect and something happens, it forces us to take the next step and be imperfect in the next action. And that's good
Mhm.
for us as self-proclaimed perfectionists to flex and practice as a business owner, because that's going to happen time and time again. We don't want to get stuck at the beginning waiting for perfection to show up before we get out there. And so it's just such a great practice in getting started to get out there, start talking about it, and let the action organically start to happen.
So good. So good. All right, let's move on to mistake number 2. And so this is the first one is like kind of getting you to launch, but trust me, action over perfection is something you will carry on for the rest of your life once it becomes a core value inside of you. I mean, literally, I've been in business since 2016. We've grown our company to a multi-million-dollar company, and still every day I'm like, action over perfection, action over perfection. Like, you just have to do it. Mistake number 2, they don't set clear boundaries with their clients. Oh man, we're just going to step on some feet. We're talking about perfectionism. We're talking about saying no. We were literally just in our team meeting this morning talking about, oh, how difficult it is to say no and to set clear boundaries. So, how have you seen this played out in our students while they're launching their new business? Is this a struggle that they're having often, Rachel? I know you work really, really closely with our Savvy System students.
Yeah, and we see this displayed in a variety of ways, but the one that comes the most clear as we're chatting is the communication boundary. I
Mm,
think so often we as virtual assistants, no matter who we are as an individual, we are there to help and we want to serve our clients well. And sometimes to our own detriment, do we say yes too often and we cross that boundary of communication. So right from the very beginning, let me kind of paint a picture. Right from the very beginning of working with your clients, and I know we're going to talk about a contract as well, but you need to communicate with your client how and when and what methods of communication you're going to use. Are you using a platform such as Slack or Voxer, or are you only emailing? And what can they expect for turnaround time? Like, communicate those boundaries right from the beginning. Because from somebody raising my hand who broke that boundary, it is so hard to build that boundary back up once you've broken it. I can very distinctly remember when I was an executive assistant, I used Voxer as my main source of communication. It's like a voice texting back and forth app outside of your phone, right? And so I broke the boundary of responding back to messages too late at night. And so then it became a habit of the client of, oh, she's going to respond to me. It's 9:30. I'll totally just send her a message. And I would respond back. And then to build that boundary back up of, I can't do this. This is not healthy for me. This is not good, was very, very challenging to build that boundary back up. So with your communication, just one example, set that boundary, communicate it, and follow through with it while working with those clients. And you can even state those things in your contract if necessary, or in a welcoming packet, welcoming email that you may send to your client when you first start working with them. But let them know what that is right from the beginning.
Yeah, so good. Is this anything, let me know in the comments, is this anything that you either currently struggle with, have struggled with clients, or maybe if you don't have clients yet, that you could see being a potential issue for you just based off of your personality? And that's okay, because again, we are here doing the same things. I'm definitely a yes person.
Mhm.
And you want to be that. You want to serve your clients well. And so there's always the flip side of this. Like, don't hear us saying, don't serve your clients well, right? But it actually is serving your client well to have clear boundaries. It
Mhm.
makes you appear more professional when you set clear boundaries from the beginning. Because, I mean, think of two different scenarios. Scenario one, where they're asking, okay, so how does this work? And you're like, well, you can message me, you can send me an email, you can call me, you can text me, you could
Mhm.
we could do Boxer if you want. Like, versus, all right, here's how I work. So my working hours are generally Monday through Friday, but I am very flexible. However, what you can expect is that we'll communicate primarily via Slack.
Mhm.
You can expect at least you can expect about a 24-hour turnaround time in response. Sometimes you'll find that I'm quicker, but I always ask for that leeway of 24 hours because I do have multiple clients. But getting to your projects is priority one for me. So every single week, we will decide in our weekly meeting the projects that we'll work on, and then we'll just communicate about those projects again via Slack with that 24-hour turnaround time. Which one sounds more professional? Which one sounds like you have your ish together more? And this one is setting clear boundaries for you and your client, right? And I've done the thing where I told clients that they could reach me in all these different ways, and it gets so
Mhm.
messy because you're like, where was that message? Where was this? And so having really good place that you communicate back and forth is going to be really, really good. And again, you're putting that not only you're going to say it in your onboarding meeting, you might put it in a welcome packet, you want to put it in a contract. I love this quote from Henry Cloud in the book Boundaries. If you haven't read the book Boundaries, listen to this. When to say yes, how to say no to take control of your life. Boom. So good. Boundaries define us. They define what is me and what is not me. A boundary shows me where I end and someone else begins, leading me to a sense of ownership. Knowing what I am to own and take responsibility for gives me freedom. Taking responsibility for my life opens up many different options. Boundaries help us keep the good in and the bad out. Setting boundaries inevitably involves taking responsibility for your choices. You are the one who makes them. You are the one who must live with their consequences. And you're the one who may be keeping yourself from making the choices you could be happy with. Oh, I like wanted to stop the quote because it was really long, but I was like, oh, but that's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Right. And it is you taking control of your own life. And if you're somebody who has maybe been walked on in the past, right, it is you setting that boundary of saying, nope, this is what is clear. This is what is me. And this is what is not me.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of starting your own virtual assistant business is it gives you the ability to make the choices for all of the above. What are you going to do inside of your business? Who are you going to serve? What are you going to charge? How much are you going to make? Where are you going to work? You get to make all of those choices, and not all of that are you going to communicate to your clients. You're going to communicate what's important, those boundaries that they need to hear to respect that. And also when you're thinking of those boundaries, think, I know this is going to sound weird, but think selfishly a little bit. Like that 24-hour period, I think that that's great. When you say, hey, you can expect a 1 to 2 hour turnaround. What if life happens, right? And an emergency, or, you just have to go pick up the kid or whatever, fill in the blank. You may not be able to fulfill that. So think of yourself, think of possibilities, and give yourself plenty of leeway. Remember, you're a contractor. You are not told when and how you need to show up for work. You get to make those choices.
Yeah. I I think that, like, one of my key strategies is under promise, over
Yes.
deliver.
Yes.
I think that that works in so many
Mhm.
circumstances, and I've seen when my expectations are low, it's like
Mhm.
if I'm gonna drive through, like, Burger King, my expectations are real low, okay? And then you, like, get this, like, all-star person, and my husband and I do this all the time. We'll, like, if we meet one of those people that you're just,
Mhm.
like, blow your socks off, you're like, "Do we can we hire them? I don't know what do we hire them for? We need to start another business. We can hire that person because they are wow. And it's like, and that's why I think it's so important. You are not the Burger King of business. Don't worry. You are the Ruth Chris of business out there. But at the same time, you want to set your boundaries at a really reasonable place, and then you have the leeway to be like, oh wow, she responded to that super
Mhm.
fast. That's
Yeah.
cool. Like, and whereas if you say I'm going to have a 1 hour turnaround time and it takes you 2 hours, which is a very good time
Mhm.
response if you're managing multiple clients, then it's still like that's going to be a disappointment. Where if you say 24 hours and then you respond in 2 hours, it's like, oh, that's awesome, right? It's the same amount of time, but just a different expectation set.
Yeah.
And this is why a contract is so vital too. And this is one thing that we emphasize over and over and over. There's multiple time places to put this, but especially as a scope of work. So what you will and will not do really needs to be put inside of a contract. Yes, you need a contract with every client that you work with, and that scope of work is, hey, here's what we do and here's what we don't do. So if you're doing general VA tasks and your client is like, hey, could you build me a website? And maybe you even know how to build a website, but you can look and say, hey, that's actually not in our scope of work. But what I would love to do is go ahead and come up with I am open to, or you can say no, but I am open to building a website for you. I'd love to come up with like a proposal of what that could look like, right? It's respecting your own time, your own boundaries, and the rate that you set, right? Like, div- you know, most web designers aren't going to work for like $30 an hour, the admin task rate that you might be working at, right? And so you want to have a really clear scope of work. Here's what I will and won't do inside of this contract. And if someone asks for something above and beyond that, you get to decide if this is something you want to do. And if so, then you can quote that out respectively.
Yeah, and it's so important to set those clear expectations for the client. We were talking inside of our Savvy Circle Mastermind just a couple weeks ago about even adding to your contract the expectations for the client, and then communicating the expectations that they can have for you. Like the expectations of, here's what I'm going to work on. I'm going to work on these specific tasks. You can expect that my turnaround is going to be XYZ. But there's also expectations that I, as the contractor, have from you. I need you to communicate what you need from me within this amount of time. And having them acknowledge, initial or whatever sign, that they understand their expectations just as much. It just sets off the partnership, the working relationship off right at the beginning.
So good.
Mhm.
So good. All right, let's move on to mistake number 3. I want to make sure that we have plenty of time for Q&A. So know that that is coming up. If you have questions, if what we're talking about is starting to churn some questions in your mind, you can go ahead and drop those in the comments because we will be doing a Q&A time. But mistake number 3 that we see is that they don't get accountability or support. I think this is one of the biggest ones, honestly, because you you shouldn't be doing this alone, right? It is literally why we have a community, is because there is just something to be said for when you are discouraged, having somebody there to encourage you. When you are stuck, for somebody to be able to say, hey, I've been stuck too. Here's what I did to get out of that stuck place, right?
Mhm.
Here's my experience. Even just having something as simple as a blueprint, right? Having like, okay, I'm not just going at this haphazardly. Maybe I'll try this. Maybe I'll try this. Maybe I'll try this. Nope. I have a linear blueprint that I'm working through, and I know here's what I do first. Here's what I do next. Here's what I do next. Right. And having people and a support system around you, I think, can be the difference maker between those who succeed in their business and those who do not.
Yeah. How many of us have ever had a conversation with somebody in person or over the phone or whatever, where you just feel like they're deer in the headlights, right? Like they don't understand what you're saying. They're not connecting. They're not showing empathy towards you because they just don't get it. There's something about being in a community with people that understand what you're working through, whether it's a safe place to vent and share frustration, or it's a great place to show up and know that you're going to be supported in sharing your wins as well. Or, you can ask a question and get support back from a variety of different opinions to help you arrive at the right solution for yourself. There's something to be said about having that support with people who just get it and understand the grind that we're doing to launch, grow, and scale our virtual assistant business.
Yeah. I'd love to know. Let's be honest. So to make this interactive, if accountability support is something that you currently feel like you do have, just type I have that in the comments. And if it is not, just type I need that in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes just acknowledging it is good, and it's okay. It's okay if you don't have it yet. I know personally, just as a mom and a business owner and like the chaos of life, something that I really struggled with the past 2 years is prioritizing friendships and relationships. So it's like one of my number one goals this year in 2024 is to reprioritize relationships. So it's okay. There are seasons where that just has to take a back burner. And my family and I went through that for about a year. We had some really tough circumstances, and I should have leaned more into friends, but I just didn't. And it's where I was at. And so maybe you guys have that, but if you need it, it's okay. Let's acknowledge it, and then we can move forward to find that accountability and support. And I love you guys saying I have that. Brina says from your group, actually. Oh, I love that. That is amazing. So let's look at what this could look like. Let's get practical, right? So community can look like so many different things. It could look like a local networking group. If you guys have been around me any amount of time, I am obsessed with local networking groups. My husband and I are thinking about starting a local networking group. So we actually started a small group through our church that meets every Sunday night here in Springfield. And we've been doing it for about 2 months now. And it is the most life-giving thing. It's so amazing. It's all small business owners, all local small business owners. But we're at capacity. I mean, we reached capacity, and we literally every week have people reaching out to us saying, like, can we join? Can we join? We're like, we literally can't. We have no more chairs in our house. And so we're like, maybe we should just start like a monthly more networking group, and just because meeting local people is just so fun. And so it's a lot easier than you might think. So if you don't have one that you attend, you can always start one, because apparently we might be doing that. So it could look like a local networking group that you go to. It could look like weekly coffee with a friend, talking to your spouse about business struggles, finding a like-minded Facebook group, obviously Savvies, and our Savvy System group. If you are a Savvy System Pro or Ultimate student, you get access to our Facebook group, which is like the VA Savvies, but much more curated, smaller, everybody going through the same program together. It is a very like tight-knit community, which is so awesome. And so that it could look like something like that. It could be investing in a course or a coaching program with others, going that same path and knowing that that momentum is going to carry you. Every time I've had huge strides in my own life or business, it's almost always been when I've been a part of a course, or with a coach, and in that community kind of flowing in that. So these are some examples. So if you're one of the people that said, I need that, because I do see a couple of you, go ahead and choose one of these. Which one do you feel like you're going to take action on to dive into, or dive into deeper, so that you have that community? Let me know in the comments.
Yeah, Yeah, and the best thing about this is, again, you get to make the choice. Like looking, and these are not exhaustive. Like there could be other ways that this could look like for you, but really deciding what is it that I need in this accountability and support. Do I need somebody who's going to challenge me to learn? Is it going to be I need somebody to really ask me the difficult questions? That's where that weekly coffee with a good friend could play in, right? Like I need somebody who can ask me the difficult questions and push me in a way that nobody else can, or maybe your spouse or your partner. You have to determine what is it, the kind of support that I need, and where can I find that. Maybe it's just a safe place to ask questions and vent about, the struggles of owning a business, and that could be, like Nikki says, a Facebook group. So you really have to decide for yourself, what is the accountability and support that I need, and then go find it.
So good. So
Mhm.
good. I truly believe, after training over 6,000 people to do this whole thing, I truly believe that if you take a proven blueprint and accountability, that it is your best chance at support or at success. Like, again, that step by step methodology and paired with true accountability. So let's get the accountability part set in today. You guys are already making some decisions. I'm seeing that in the comments. I love it. And then let's get a blueprint. And that's what this challenge is going to be for you guys. I'm very excited to go through this. I think that when you deciding to start a business is a big freaking deal. So I just want to go ahead and acknowledge everybody who showed up here live. If you're coming in and watching the replay, the fact that you've even decided, I think I'm going to do this, is already distinguishing you so much from just the common person, right? Like, it's a really big deal that you're doing this, and you need to accept that and acknowledge it, because, like, go you. That is awesome. But I will say this, once you've decided, I think that one of the difficult things as an entrepreneur is just knowing, what do I do next, right? And so there are so many things that you could do, and you have so much information probably coming in from all different places, that sometimes you just need that step-by-step blueprint. I am such a to-do list person. Like, I'm just the, like, tell me what to do and I'll do it. Like, that is so me. I'm like, just tell, I can knock out some tasks. Like, let me tell you, I can friggin' knock out tasks. Some days, like Rachel or Melissa, but like, how did you just get that much done? I'm like, because when I'm in the zone, I can knock out some tasks, right? But sometimes I just tell me what to do and I'll do it, right? And so that's what this challenge is us every single day being like, all right, you want a business? Perfect. Here's how you do it. Let's go. So very excited to jump in. Totally free. Starts on the 16th. Even if you can't attend each one of the days live, go ahead and register, because that will make sure that you get all of the replays. Okay, so make sure you register for the challenge. It's going to be epic.
I love this challenge, Abby, and I've said this so many times, but what happens in this challenge is that we give you, like Abby said, we give you assignments. We help you take action, that action over perfection that we talked about before. And sometimes we're literally going to ask you a question and you're going to make a decision right there. No research, no looking it up, no sitting around deciding. You're just going to make the decision in that moment. And the success that we've seen from this challenge is absolutely amazing. And we want you to be there as well to help yourself take that action over perfection.
Yeah, so good. So good. All right, guys, let's do a live Q&A time. What questions do you have for Rachel and I? You have us at your disposal for the next, 15 minutes or so. Let's chat about you and your business. Where are you currently at? Are you currently in that startup phase where you're still kind of deciding, is this for me? Maybe you've decided it's for me, but I still need help with pricing, packages, hours. Do I have a niche? Do I not have a niche? Are you starting to market and starting to figure out, all right, where's the best place for me to market? Where are you at in your business, and where are you feeling stuck? I think that that's when we do live Q&A time. I feel like that's one of the best questions, is just to, like, sit back and self-reflect for a second. Like, okay, what is the next thing that's ahead of me? What do I know I need to do next? Or maybe you don't know what you need to do next. That could be your question. But if you know what you need to do next, then what's stopping you, right? Like, why haven't you done it yet? And maybe there's a knowledge gap, right? Maybe there's a fear gap. Maybe we just need to talk a little bit about fear here, and that's okay. We can chat about that. What's in between you and the next step in your journey? Let's talk about it, and maybe Rachel and I can provide some clarity around that. So I see a few questions coming up. Nikki's like, I'm in the startup and the lost stage.
Been there.
We have all been there. That's actually like the first step is being totally lost and feeling overwhelmed. Are you there? Perfect. Check. You have checked off the first step. It's perfect. Honestly, the best thing you can do is this challenge. It starts next week. And so when you enroll in the challenge, you'll go ahead and get a workbook. You can look through the workbook and just prep yourself because we're going to be going hardcore during the challenge. So you will know exactly what you need to do next. So no worries at all. Okay, so many good questions. Let's dive in.
Yeah.
Yvette says finding a niche is very, very difficult for her. So let's have our niche talk. It's time for the niche talk.
Also notice her follow-up comment down below. If you partner with someone, could you possibly have more than one niche?
Ooh, so good. Okay, so here is Abby's niche talk. Are we ready for it?
I'm ready.
Okay, so I believe that having a niche is one of the best things that you can do for your business eventually. I think that having the benefits of having a niche is that you can really know that client. You can know their pain points, you can know their problems, and you can target your messaging and your marketing all to getting the exact same type of client so that you can solve their problem in a streamlined way. The more that you know your niche, the more you can actually charge because you become an expert in solving that problem. Beautiful. Niching is phenomenal. The problem is that most of us have no idea what to niche down to, right? What do I niche down to? And here's what I would have to say. If it's not obvious, what you should niche down to, you're not ready to niche down. Okay. And that's okay. Most of us, I would say, and I'm just throwing this out, but Rachel, you can correct me if you think I'm wrong. I would say 85 to 90% of us actually aren't ready to niche. I would say more people should not niche than should, at least in the very beginning. Because what happens is that when you niche down, you are severely limiting either the services that you're going to offer or the people that you're going to offer them to, which means that your pool of people is smaller than maybe the network you currently have. And so what I tell people to do is if you don't have a niche, and so let me define that really quick. So niching down would mean, hey, I'm going to only offer my services to these type of people. So I'm only going to I'm going to niche down by industry. I'm only going to service wedding professionals, or I'm only going to service those in the health industry. I'm only going to service authors, right? Or you can niche down by service. I'm only going to offer Pinterest management. I'm only going to do websites. I'm only going to do Dubsado setup, okay? Right? So or you could do both. I'm only going to do Dubsado setup for wedding professionals. We actually have a Savvy Systems student who has done that and been very successful. However, right, why would that, let's take that for instance. Why did she niche down to that and why was it so successful? Because she knew Dubsado like the back of her hand and because she had a huge network of wedding professionals. So if you niche down to an industry and you don't have a foot in that industry, where are you going to get your clients from? Right? Like if you, and it is possible, I'm not saying it's impossible, it's just going to be slower, right? Because you're going to have to get and find where those people are and get your foot in. And then once you get in, if you don't have experience in that industry, you might get in and realize you don't like it. And that's when, and then you have to take steps backwards. So what we tell people to do is rather than niching down too soon, just offer all the services that you want to offer to anyone who will buy them, right? And this is what I did. I think this is what Rachel did too in the very beginning is, hey, I had my first clients, I had a massage therapist, I had a State Farm agent, I had a kids clothing brand who made like clothes that the Kardashian kids wore or something. I had a health blogger slash model from South Africa. Like what, like how random can you get, right? And I just did general admin for all of those. Once I started working with all those people, I realized, ooh, what I'm liking the most is copywriting. And so I eventually niched down, and I never niched down by industry actually, but I niched down to only doing higher end copywriting services. And I was able to raise my rates to $65, $75 an hour because I got more niche, right? But I didn't go out and just like stay to niche because I didn't know. I didn't even know I loved copywriting until I got into it. So if you don't already have an industry that you have your foot in the door, or if you don't already have a service that you're like, this is what I'm passionate about and this is all I want to do, then just wait and do general admin to anyone who, anyone who will buy your services. And we'll talk about how to find those people and then eventually niche down. Do you agree, Rachel?
I agree 100%. And I want you, and Yvette says too, that makes me feel better. I'm so glad. Allow yourself to walk through this journey of exploration and discovery of yourself, what you love doing, who you love serving, and it's going to organically kind of show up in time. Give yourself the time and space. If you don't know, you may say, like Abby's example, you may already have a huge network of wedding professionals and you know this CRM Dubsado like the back of your hand, and this is going to be what you're going to jump into. Great. If you don't, that's fine. Allow yourself to test the waters and try things out. My journey looked very similar to Abby's, and you discover what you don't want to do and who you don't want to serve, and then you can make that decision. There is a potential danger, if I can even use that strong of a word, to niching down too soon. So allow yourself to walk through the process of figuring that out for yourself. Don't rush to it.
So good. So good. I hope that helps you, Beth. Lisa, silly question. No, it's not. I already read your question. This is not silly. About the hours you set on your packages. Do you get paid for assigned projects only, or would this be included in your weekly calls? So you get to choose. However, I highly suggest any hours that you're working for your client, including calls, research, any of that you include that in your billable hours. That's what I personally did. And so that I think it holds accountability and it respects your time, as well as your client's time, and it creates an idea of essentialism too. It's like, kid, does this have to be a meeting or can it just be a Slack message? And so I have had those clients that they want to get on and they want to have an hour-long meeting with me every single week. And that 1 hour meeting sometimes would turn into 2 hours. And guess what? They were paying me $70 for that 2 hour meeting. And they knew that from the beginning, right? And so it really, it respects your time and theirs. Do you agree, Rachel?
Yeah. And I think it goes back to our conversation about setting those boundaries and communicating that right from the beginning of, are you doing project-based pricing or project-based services where it's a clear beginning to end? Then you look at that, and does that include meetings? Does it include weekly meetings built in to that? Or if you're doing an hourly type of a package model, make sure that they understand that any of those meetings are billable time and will be included in that time that you're going to kind of track along the way. So just communicate that from the very beginning, what that looks like.
Yeah, so good. I think we answered this, but I want to acknowledge it and expound on this question. Is a specific niche actually necessary? I reached out to all the business owners I know, and a realtor got back to me. That is awesome. So is she my niche? So no, definitely not. But what's so cool is that, it's definitely, virtual assistants is this choose your own adventure, because your business should eventually reflect what you want, right? Like, do you want to have a huge team, or do you want to be a party of 1 or 2 or 3, right? Do you want to niche down? Do you want to do high-end services, or do you want to just stick with hourly? Like, you get to choose. And so, and any of these can be successful also, right? And so with like, you could never choose a niche. You know who never chose a niche is the founder of Belay, who has, I know they do at least $2 million because they're in a networking group that I'm a part of, that you have to be at a $2 million business. So I'm pretty sure they're way beyond that though. Belay virtual assistants, they, offer pretty much all services to anybody, to small business owners, and that's it, right? So you can grow a very successful business without ever niching down. You can also niche down. My friend Kate, who has $1 million Pinterest agency, right? Like, So all of these are possible, and you don't have to grow your business to $1 million. Please don't hear that. But I'm just saying success can happen whether you niche down or not. So you get to choose. So you may find out over time that you love working with this realtor client and that you're finding that she's referred or he is referring you to other realtors. And it's just starting to organically, naturally happen. You're like, I'm gonna go with this, right? And so maybe you go with it and you end up starting a real estate VA business, or maybe you don't and you work with lots of different people, and that's fine too. You choose your own adventure.
Yeah, that's so good. And Brianna, just give it time. Like, don't claim the niche right away. Like, test the waters, see how you like working. Like, each industry has a unique variety of people that are inside of that industry. And sometimes it's a match and sometimes it's not. So don't claim it too quick. Just allow yourself to test it out.
So good. Megan, I had an amazing 6 months, was crushing business. My next step is getting online clients. So I'm
Mm.
guessing you were doing kind of like an in-person service. So I would definitely love to hear if what you were doing is potentially transferable, if the people that you were serving could potentially utilize your online services. And then beyond that, I want to note that day 3 of our challenge, we're going to be talking really, really in depth about marketing. So I see a couple marketing questions here. We won't be able to answer all of those today because I could talk literally forever about marketing. I love it. But I will say that on day 3 of the challenge, we're going to really dive into that. So I'd highly recommend that you join the challenge. Um, okay. Hazel. Oh, I love the name Hazel. That was Rob, my husband's grandmother's name. She lived to be 104. Most amazing woman that I
Mhm.
know. She, like, when she passed, there was, like, literally nothing wrong with her. Like, she had, like, a bad knee and her hearing wasn't good, and that was, like, she just was like, "I'm done." And so, beautiful woman. And you're a beautiful woman as well. I have a client I've not quite launched yet, but my question is about rates. For now, I'm doing hourly, but anything less than 10 hours a week is not worth it. 100% agree. When do you go to package deals? Do you wanna give your thoughts on this one, Rachel?
Yeah. First of all, congratulations. I think you have launched. You have a client. You're out there. You're
Mhm.
serving people. So congratulations on that. Okay. So next thought, there's not going to be this is when you do package deals, but I will say, I recommend that you at least have an understanding of the time frame attached to your services before looking at doing a package deal. So, do you have that understanding? Could you look at the services that you currently serve this client with and put together a package that clearly defines the deliverables? That's absolutely vital when putting together a package. Can you get very specific and granular about those specific deliverables to avoid what we kind of alluded to earlier is scope creep? What you don't want to happen is those boundaries getting broken of, well, can you do this? And can you do this? And can you do this? No, my package includes this, and this. And if it even has to get down to quantity of social media, for an example, I do this many graphics, I do this many captions, et cetera, et cetera. When you can get to that point of clearly defining the deliverables and maybe even the time frame, that is when you're ready to put a package together. Abby, thoughts?
Yeah, totally agree. Like, so the opposite of that would be if what you're doing for your clients changes week to week and
Mhm.
there's no consistency in it, then
Yep.
you may want to start trying to develop some consistency into like, here's what I do and here's what I don't do. So if like all you're doing is clearing the inbox, then okay, I've noticed some consistency. I can clear 50 emails in 2 hours. Okay, well then I know because there has to be like a time, right? There has to be a time associated for you on the back end. They don't need to know how much time it takes you, but there
Mhm.
has to be like a time associated to this is how long this deliverable takes me. And then that way I know at least what to start charging, right? You don't want to make less money by moving to packages. You want to make more money because you want to get rewarded for the faster that you get at doing your job. So packages are awesome. But yeah, you got to have like, what is that deliverable? What are they getting that's not just hours? And it has to be really, really clear. And that's when you're ready. So great question. Um, this is a good one. Is it possible to launch your business without having to register as an LLC, sole proprietorship, etc.? Can you jumpstart your business, open a business bank account, just filling off of your SSN? Okay, so most places For the most part, you don't have to form an LLC to begin working as basically you're a contractor, right? So your clients would not be paying a business, they would pay paying you. And then that income gets reported on a 1099 form for tax purposes, right? Actually, when you form an LLC, you're still not necessarily getting like tax wise, anything, nothing really changes because an LLC is a flow through entity. It does is it protects you legally. And so we highly recommend getting an LLC because again, you want to protect yourself legally. So that way, I mean, at the end of the day, somebody, if they ever sued you, they'd be suing the LLC and not your person. It protects your personal assets, right? Some people wait to start an LLC. One resource that I would highly recommend before you officially launch is to score.org. And you can talk to their business mentors and just see, hey, are there any special, do I have to have an LLC to start my own at-home business? Or can I just work as as a sole proprietor, as an independent contractor? Do I need any special licenses or certificates or anything that, like, is there anything special with, the county that I live in that I have to do to run an at-home business? That is something legally that I would highly recommend. And then as far as the other part goes, for the most part, to really start operating, you just need what I would say an EIN number. And so that is free. So you can literally just Google, get an EIN. Don't pay for this. It's literally through just like is it IRS. It's just whatever. It's the government side. It's the .gov. Yeah. Okay. And so you want to get your EIN number. And what that does is that replaces your social security number because you don't want to be putting your social security number on the tax forms that your clients are giving you, right? And so you give them an EIN number instead of your social. So that's that way. And it's just kind of like the way to mask your social and claim it to a business. And so, so I would get an EIN number. And then I would also, and that's going to enable you to open a business bank account too, because you can't open a business bank account without an EIN number normally. So, and some may require you to have an LLC to open a bank account. I know my bank doesn't. All you need is an EIN number. So, yeah.
I would add on to that too, Tiffany. An option is, and this is what I did at the very beginning, I did not have an LLC. And some banks, like Abby said, require you to have an LLC to open a business labeled bank account. What I did is I just went to the bank that I currently use and I opened a checking account because you want to, from the very beginning, y'all, keep your business and personal expenses separate. Keep your business and personal expenses separate right from the beginning. Pay yourself through the business account. And so what worked really well is because my accounts were connected, all my clients' invoice went into that separate checking account that was for my business. And then I paid myself, just transferred money over to my personal account. And that account can act as your business bank account until you have an LLC and you want to open an official business account. Depending on the banking institute that you use, there may be benefits to having a business labeled account, but in many cases, there isn't. In some cases, you even have to pay to have a business bank account. So sometimes just a separate checking account can work as well. And you don't have to have anything specific to get that either.
Yep, totally. Okay, I got a good one. What tools or software is user budget friendly to operate on your VA business? Let's go back and forth.
Wave, invoices, and bookkeeping.
Okay. I will say Dubsado. So Dubsado is free for the first 3 clients, which I think is so cool because I literally can start making money. And by the time I'm my 4th client, then start paying, that is baller. Thank you, Dubsado.
Yeah, that's a good one. Slack, free to operate, great platform for communication.
So good. Ooh, I'm going to say Trello. So I think Trello is, if you are like new to the online space and you just need like a level 1 project management tool, I still use Trello. I'm going to admit it. I do. It's just so user friendly. It's free. It's just, it's just a great place to just dump stuff, like dump all your thoughts and organize it. There are more advanced systems. There's Asana, there's ClickUp, there's so many different project management systems out there that can do way more. They're way more robust, and I think that they are eventually better for business owners. But like, you just can't go wrong with Trello in the beginning if you're just needing like that level one. I'm new to project management. How can I make this easy and simple? I love Trello.
Yeah, that's a good one. Another, our admin put in some, I'm not gonna look at the list. The next one that I had was actually Zoom. And here's a tip, y'all. We were talking about boundaries, right? And setting those limits. The free account doesn't allow you to have like a group Zoom meeting for, I think it's 45 minutes
Yeah.
is the cutoff. So there's your boundary. Like, only use the free Zoom account, and you know that your meetings can only go this
Yeah.
long, right? So you don't have to have the paid version of Zoom. You can totally use the free version when you first start off, and then if you need to expound, then you can do that later on down the line.
So good. Okay. Zoom made me think of Loom.
Oh, yes. Good one.
So yeah, Loom is awesome. I use Loom for so many things, and I still don't even think we pay for it. And our team said we survive on Loom. We totally do. So Loom, if you haven't used it, LOOM, it's a screen recording software, which you might be like, why are you so obsessed with the screen recording software? Because it's awesome and it can solve so many problems. So like, we will film tutorial videos for our team. So if you needed to put together like a training for your client of like, here's how you log into your side of Dubsado. Here's how you do that. Shoot a Loom video, and you can even have your little picture in the corner. It looks so nice and professional. If you want to if you're like wanting to explain something to a client, but you don't really want to book a meeting, but you're like, this is going to take so much time to type out in an email, you can shoot a Loom and just be like, whoop, here's what I'm talking about. You see this on your screen, da 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 da, and you can send them messages. We'll like shoot Loom messages back and forth all the time in Slack. Our team does. It is great for answering emails. So I answer emails all the time with Loom, and it's so funny because when I do it to like people, especially people that like don't know the online space, I will send them a Loom video and they're like, what is this? You're so amazing. You just worked magic. This is so cool. And I'm like, I literally just saved myself like 2 hours by not having to type out this email to you, and you think I'm cool. You are welcome. And so it's like, so good for that. I think it's really good for, I think it's a good marketing tool. So one of the things that we teach here at the Virtual Savvy is value first. And so if you are sending in a job op proposal, or you're, talking to a potential client, to be able to, even just shoot a video without a screen share and just like introduce yourself and just do a nice video saying like, hey, my name's Abby, da 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 da, I'm excited to work for your business. Or doing a screen share, and maybe it's a proposal and you're telling them how your business is going to improve their Pinterest account. You can log into Pinterest and you can look at their current account and, on a Loom video, okay, here's the 3 ways we would help you. Number 1, we're going to optimize this. Number 2, we're going to schedule this many pins. Number 3, we're going to join these group boards and da 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 da. And you can actually like personalize it by showing their account on screen. So it's a marketing tool. It's for email. It's for client communication. It's for training. Like Loom, we love it.
So good. Okay, one more each. Okay. AI is not going anywhere, y'all. AI is here to stay, and it's already exploded in the past year. I am of the opinion that AI is not going to replace virtual assistants. AI will replace the virtual assistants not using AI.
Ooh, cool.
And so a great tool is ChatGPT, and the free one is totally great. Like, yes, there's, some special features as with all platforms and programs with the paid version, but the free one, it can save you time, energy, effort, and it's an amazing tool to use. So don't be afraid of it. Embrace it, because it's not going anywhere.
You can literally be like, so say you're wanting to post to socials, 2 times a week, which I think is great. You don't need to post more than that, but we won't talk about that right now. Say you want to post to your socials 2 times a week, and you're like, oh, how am I going to come up? Okay, you feed ChatGPT. I'm a virtual assistant who offers these 5 services. Give me a list of 100 things ideas to post about on my social media. Boom, it'll give you 100. Like,
Mhm.
it's baller. If you've not used it yet, guys, ChatGPT is
So
awesome. All right, I get the last one.
yep, you get the last one.
What do you think it is? I
I think I know. Does it start with a C?
Yeah, it's
Yep, it does.
Canva. I'm like, I can't believe we almost forgot Canva. Oh my gosh, have you guys all used Canva? Let me know in the comments if you love Canva. We use Canva. I literally think I
Mhm,
use Canva every day.
mhm,
Now we do have the paid version now, but I started on the free version, and the free version is incredibly robust.
mhm,
I would say of like of the apps that I would upgrade to the paid versions sooner, I would say Canva and Dubsado would be those would be two that like pretty soon in the business I would upgrade. But what's so cool about that is that they're both like really inexpensive.
mhm.
So yeah, Canva is just whether you're creating flyers or social media graphics or your logo or your I mean, it's just it can do everything and you feel like you're the smartest person, most creative person in the world when you use Canva and I love it. So uh,
Love it.
so good. If you haven't played around in Canva, do it. You will gain confidence in your ability. You're like, I can do this. I can do anything. All right, guys. That is all the time we have. I think that's all my throat can take today. I'm about to hack up a
You
lung.
did great. You did
I'm
great.
brewing. It's brewing. All right. So don't forget, we have our launch, our VA Launch Your Business in 3 Days challenge coming up next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, noon Central Time. If you can't attend all of them live, we really highly suggest you try to because it's going to be really interactive. You can get our live feedback just like we did here today. However, if you can't, go ahead and register because we will send you all the replays. And it's going to be a really, really amazing time. Also, I didn't put it in a slide, but next Thursday is also, we are starting our big fall sale of the Savvy System. So if you go to savvysystem.com right now, you will see it and you can purchase it, but it is a higher price than it will be on Thursday, right? Yeah, Thursday when we launch or when we, launch this New Year's sale. And you are going to be able to get the best price on the Savvy System that you're going to be able to get for the next 6 months. So make sure that you go ahead and join the challenge. And if you're interested in the Savvy System, one of the best times to buy is going to be this
Mhm.
upcoming Thursday. So that's all we have for you guys today. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to hang out with you, and we will see you next week for the challenge.